1970 WOCA.
Ocala. Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Why don't you love me like I know you could?
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Kelli Hart is in the studio. This is Ocala Magazine Radio. Kelli is the executive editor of Ocala Magazine, and she comes into these studios each Friday to keep us up to date about what's going on at the magazine and in the magazine. And the new month is here.
A new month is here.
I'm assuming we're going to hear about that new month. And let me get your picture on there. Good morning.
Yes. Hey,
You're looking beautiful as always.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Well, can I ask you a real quick question about magazines?
Okay.
I can remember my first magazine I ever subscribed to. It was Newsweek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I don't know what grade it was, but the teacher said to the class, we want you to subscribe to everybody. Find a magazine that you like and subscribe to it. So we all subscribed to something.
Good assignment.
Yeah. But I picked mine because it was once a week.
Yeah.
It would show up every week. So
Well, that's a good strategy, I guess, if you wanted a new magazine every week.
It was cool. You get a new one every week.
Right.
Instead of having to wait a month.
Oh, yeah.
But still, it's worth it. And in today's world with the electronic stuff, I kind of miss that. I like seeing the actual physical magazine that you bring in here.
I love magazines. I mean, obviously, I love Ocala Magazine, and I love the world of magazines, but far before I was at Ocala Magazine, I've always loved them. I remember my first magazine was Teen Beat.
Did you really?
Yes. When my mom would take me to the grocery store, which at the time was Family Mart. I don't know if you remember when Ocala had Family Mart. It was like right across from Kmart.
Okay.
Now it's a church, and it's been a couple other things, but it was Family Mart. And that's where we went grocery shopping. And I'd see it and usually beg my mom, because I was a big Kirk Cameron fan.
So you buy it at the store?
Yeah, at the store.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wanted to see Kirk Cameron. And there was always
We had Kirk Cameron on the show.
Did you really?
Yeah, we did.
Oh my gosh!
If I knew that, we should have had you in
Oh my goodness!
here.
I had a poster of him on my wall.
Robin, can we get him again?
Yeah, get him again.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially now. I mean, now I love what he's doing. It's even cooler now what he's doing than when I was, all fascinated. But there was always a fold-out poster inside the middle of every Teen Beat of some, celebrity, celebrity.
Yeah, men's magazines had the fold-out too.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I wasn't looking at those, of course, but I just thought that was because I got to really keep up, with like, ooh, what are teenagers wearing, and who's the cute boy, and so now I still have that same kind of fire for magazines, but of course it's not Teen Beat.
So you were always into fashion, even when you were little, huh?
Yeah, although if you look at pictures of me when I'm little, you wouldn't think that I cared at all about what I wore.
Really?
Because I would wear, I had like leggings and then mismatched socks and, 3 or 4 different layered shirts and all different colors. I had Converse tennis shoes, and I'd wear like one red one, maybe like one black one.
Why, when we're young, is it important to keep up? Like when you get older, you don't even care about keeping up, I
don't know, because I know my daughter now does the exact same thing. She will wear the most absurd outfits. And, I remember doing the same thing and having to fight my parents on letting me do the same thing, especially because I went to a Christian school. So during the week, I had to wear a uniform. And it was always a skirt below the knee and pantyhose and everything I hated as a little tomboy. So on the weekends, I just wanted to kind of, I guess, rebel and wear the most colorful, different out there type things. And so now that's what my daughter does. And I kind of look at it like, I'm going to pick my battles. If that's how she wants to dress, it could be way worse. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah, but it's very funny.
And deep in her heart, she's a good person, and that's really the most important thing, right?
Yeah, and she'll tell you, I don't care what people think about how I dress. I feel good in this, and I like it, and that's what I'm going to wear. So I'm like, how can I argue with that kind of confidence?
Oh my gosh, and you're kind of taking me down a path. It blends into the adult conversations we sometimes have, but not that I want to go there. But with the magazines, the problem I had with those men's magazines was not the pictures. The pictures were great.
Yeah.
The problem I had was the philosophy. I hated the philosophy that people were somehow disposable and women could be toys.
Right.
That part never resonated with me.
Yeah.
The idea that looking at the pictures was fine, but
well, it resonates with millions. That's why those magazines exist, unfortunately.
But the whole Playboy lifestyle and just that word, not necessarily for that magazine, but across the board, the idea that you could just spend money
Right.
and that's that's success.
Sure.
It just never resonated.
Well, and I
with me.
think that's one of the things I like about Ocala magazine and it being a city magazine is we're not, so we're not Cosmo or one of these magazines where we fill the entire book with unrealistic expectations of what someone should look like and not to knock those magazines because I love them, but they're full of models. I mean, what we consider to be what a model should be.
You have really gone out of your way to really make that statement, though. I mean, you've had a couple of articles of photojournalism
Sure.
where the ladies were in their underwear, and they're all different shapes and sizes.
Yes.
And you were one of them.
I was
by the way.
one of them.
I
Yes.
got that one on my wall. So I'm teasing. But
I was like, how can I ask women in our community to kind of strip down per se and expose their real selves but then not be willing to do it myself.
And that's really cool that you guys.
Yeah, that was one of those things.
Had
I kind
the-
of backed myself into a corner on this one, so now I'm gonna have to follow through. But it was a great article, and I love that our magazine is filled with real people. And that's not to say that we have to put out a cover like every other magazine. We have to compete with every other magazine,
Sure,
especially
sure.
in the state of Florida, because every year those are the people that we are physically, literally competing against in the way of photography and
Right.
and writing. And so of course we know that we do have to become kind of editorial in some regards and make sure that our covers look a certain way and have a certain quality. But for the most part, everyone in our book is real. They're real people from Ocala. And I don't think that when you flip through an Ocala magazine, that you're thinking to yourself, like, these aren't models, these aren't pretty, these aren't the skinny, 80-pound waif runway models that you see. I mean, no, these are beautiful people. These are our people. These are Ocala people, and their
Nice,
their
yeah.
stories make them way more beautiful than any person draped in, clothing. So that's, to me, is what's so cool about having a city magazine, is that it's filled with real people. And man, we've met some really cool ones.
It is what makes Ocala Ocala.
Yes.
I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the March issue is, which will be out on Monday. So we're very excited about that. And we have got, we always try to have such a diverse layering of editorial inside the magazine, because it's important that anybody that picks up the magazine can connect to some story in there. And we know that not every person will connect to every story. So
Right,
we
right.
really have to kind of go in a bunch of different directions. And the content for March is very exciting. One of the very interesting articles that I didn't write, but Keith Chartrand wrote, was on a recycling story that I happened to have heard about from one of our city officials just in general conversation. And the subject of recycling came up. And I have two cans, not the bird, but the thing. And so like one of them is for garbage.
Took me a second
and
there.
then one of them is for recycling.
Two cans.
And nobody has ever, no one said to me, here's what you can recycle. And I just always reverted back to the big recycling campaign that came out,
Right.
20 years ago, 15, I don't even remember. But when cycling was the thing, and it was like, reduce, reuse, recycle. And you're like, okay, I've got my glass, I've got my paper, I'm going to just throw it away and I'm doing a good thing.
Right.
And I learned so much when I was just proofing that story, because the reason that we wrote this story, I thought that there was a great need to educate the community on what our recycling program even means to Ocala and what we can actually be recycling. Because our contract with the waste management company that the city has contracted with was up, and it was time to renegotiate, and the rates went sky high. I mean, they were like 5-6 times the normal rate.
The race that the city had to pay?
Right.
Okay.
So like, okay, well, what's going on here? I mean, we haven't, quadrupled in size, so why would the rates be so high?
Yeah, right.
Well, the issue was that company, when they would collect all of the recycled bins inside the county or the city, was that we were not recycling properly. And so they were spending more time sorting through trash and,
wow.
and ultimately throwing so much of it away and having to haul
okay.
it off that it was costing them money to do so. So the issue became, okay, what are we doing wrong? How are we failing at recycling? So the city went and they took a little sampling from northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast, and they just got a bunch of cans and dumped them out and said, what are people putting into these cans? And not all of it were things that were shocking, although some things were just like, this is, you can't, like throw clothes. You're not supposed, there's some things you just automatically know.
Right.
But there were a lot of things that most people, I would assume, think are okay to recycle, like paper plates. For example, you think, okay, I had a
Paper.
sandwich
Right.
on my plate. I'm going to throw my plate away and do my part and save the earth. But that's not the case. Anything that has touched food or come in contact with food is not recyclable because it is now contaminated.
Really?
So those things have to go into your regular kitchen garbage can.
I didn't know that. So
I had no idea. I thought I was doing a good thing.
So a can of beans, you rinse it out, you throw it away, you put it in recycling.
You would think that you would put it into recycling.
But you don't.
Well, in the article is great because it really does spell it out for you. So some things like aluminum cans, because I thought, okay, well then aluminum cans shouldn't be able to be recycled because they've come into contact with food,
yeah.
Right? Well, but I guess because of the way that those things are recycled and they're burnt and melted and the impurities and what's contaminated would be burnt out.
So metal is okay.
So aluminum is okay.
Glass mayonnaise jar?
Glass is another thing. We used to think that recycling glass was so beneficial, but now, and you'll read all of the exact details in the story, of course, but just very briefly. So glass now no longer has as much of a value to recycle. It's almost completely obsolete or worthless to even be recycling glass.
But they tell us to.
I know that they tell us to.
On the that brown can that we all have. Does everybody? I don't know. I have one. A brown one and a green one.
Yes.
Okay. So the brown one has right on the top. It's got all the things you can and cannot put in there. Mm-hmm. So that's why I do what I do. Right.
But when you see paper, and so you think, well, I can recycle paper.
Right.
But if it's a paper napkin that you've wiped birthday cake off your face or something, that is not. You cannot recycle that. And the problem being is, let's say I have filled my can with everything that I can recycle. And now I've taken my paper plate that had my, tuna fish sandwich on it,
right.
And I've also thrown it in there too. Now, everything in that can has been contaminated.
No.
Yes.
Why don't they teach us this?
Well, that's what we're hoping to do. We were hoping, when I heard this, I thought, okay. And it's so fun because that's how a lot of stories happen. You hear something, you're like, if I don't know this, maybe other people don't know this.
Okay, so the city council a couple weeks ago had this discussion that maybe we'll discontinue the recycling thing.
Right.
Because it's not cost effective. Well, if that's the reason,
that's right. That's why
they need to be. They need to have a public service announcement on every station. They need to have something going on to educate. How are we supposed to know that?
I know, and my hope is to be able to get somebody in.
You're picking up the slack.
We're trying because I was just in awe. I couldn't believe. Well, first of all, I knew very little about the contract and how the city has contracted someone and how that whole thing works. Mm-hmm. I was really interested in the study that they did where they took a bunch of different random bins from across the city and looked through them. To me, that was pretty interesting. That's cool research, I suppose, to get their data, and then what we're doing about it. So. Ultimately, I do hope this month to have someone official in here that can, of course, get
we need
so much more information.
And more than once, we need a regular campaign. Otherwise, nobody's going to get the message.
I know. We're wasting money, and we're kind of wasting waste that
So the article you're referring to, the Keith wrote, you said, right?
Yes, Keith wrote the article. He did a great job.
I think that's going to help us, but I think it needs to be out there more often.
I agree. Well, maybe this is, just the tip of the iceberg. Maybe this will help people want to know more. So.
All right, we'll take a break. Okay. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. Do you have a gout-ridden toe or bowels that move too slow, creaky knees, or how about an asthmatic wheeze? Then acupuncture is sure to please. Come visit me, your primary care physician, Erica Olstein, at A Better You Healthcare. Call me at 352-615-5566. That's 352-615-5566.
The NFL alumni is sponsoring a Clays for Kids, a sporting event to benefit the Marion County Children's Charity. The event will take place at the Robinson Ranch in Inglis, Florida on Saturday, April 8th. Call 427-0950 for detailed information. The NFL alumni will provide gift bags, breakfast, lunch, prizes, and drawings throughout the day. Call 427-0950 for detailed information on the Clay for Kids sporting event, hosted by the NFL alumni. Beautiful Moments Party Rental presents the Ocala Wedding and Events Expo 2017 on March 9th. This event has caterers, photographers, florists, musicians, plus food, fun, and more. Brides, bring your bridesmaids and friends alike. 100% of ticket sales goes to the Inflammatory Breast Cancer Network Foundation, and they're only $10 each. So mark your calendars for March 9th from 5 to 8:30 p.m. for the Ocala Wedding and Events Expo at Beautiful Moments Party Rentals, 3400 Southwest 60th Avenue. Questions, call 307-8180. That's 307-8180. Radio gets results.
This is Ted Berkey from PR Newswire, and I have worked with Larry and Robin for the last 12 to 14 years. They're one of my favorite interviewers. They are always well prepared, ask the best questions, and they're super nice. And I just feel honored to work with them for this long. AM Ocala is one of my favorite shows, and I'll continue booking them for as long as I can.
Radio gets results.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
All right, 21 minutes after 10 o'clock, Kelli Hart is here and giving us information about the recycling in Ocala that just is blowing me away.
I know.
All right, so off the air, you told me this, that if you have one paper plate in the recycling bin with like ketchup stains on it or something.
Yes, any kind of food.
And that goes into not just your bin, but into the truck.
Right.
And everybody else who's got junk in the truck did it the right way.
You've now contaminated.
That one paper plate makes the whole thing not worthwhile.
Right.
Wow.
So then it would have to be sorted so that you would know which parts of the recycled products have not been contaminated and which ones have touched the plate and been contaminated. And you can see where that would be very time consuming. So that would require time, that would require additional staff.
Wow.
And it's no wonder that the contract came back to the city that said, you know, we can't honor this price anymore. You guys are killing us. So now we have to go up in price. And I mean, it was like up in price. So of course it made the city have to step back and say, what is really going on at this point?
This sounds to me weird because I'm trying to imagine if recycling works in other cities, how is it possible that everybody in every other city knows not to throw away a paper plate with ketchup stains, but Ocala? We're the only ones who don't know this?
Well, I cannot say that we're the only ones that don't know it. I don't know what studies other places have done. I don't know what prices other cities are paying. There may be other cities that just don't recycle at all. So I love the fact that Ocala is paying attention to recycling and trying to make it a thing because I think it's important. I think every city should have a recycling program. But we have to be doing it right or else we're wasting resources. And that's,
and if we need to be educated on it, then that's what the article is doing.
And that's what we're trying to do. But I mean, we're, obviously we reach a large number of people and we want to make this a thing because the minute that I heard this, I thought, okay, this is so simple. I mean, it really is a simple solution. It might not happen immediately, but I think with some great education, we can just know what we're doing and make it a habit. I think a lot of people are already in the habit of recycling. It's just that we're in the habit of recycling the wrong way.
Here's what I think is going to happen, Kelli. I think the article is going to educate all of us. Okay. And then we're going to go visit our friends in Connecticut where they recycle. And your aunt is going to be putting the paper plate in the recycling bin with the ketchup stain. And you're going to say, oh, no.
Mm-mm.
And she's going to say, I never heard this before.
Right.
What?
We have to, the education has to start somewhere. So, and you just told me on the break that Florida is known for being number one for higher education?
That's what it says.
So,
U.S. News and World Report named Florida as the best state for higher education.
Okay, well, I don't know if you'd consider us higher education, but we're education on some level, and so we're proud to do that. I was so educated. I was sitting there, even, you can ask the guys at work, I'm sitting there, going through and editing and proofing and reading Keith's article, and I already knew, of course, what I knew when I passed him the story and said, here's what I know. Here's, what I want to educate people about. But I was just like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. I mean, I was learning so much reading it, I thought, okay, this is good.
All right,
this is good.
Let's step back. What about newspapers? Can they go in the recycling bin?
I would presume, unless you've swatted a fly with it or something, then it can't.
That's what I'm getting at.
I know.
What if you had the newspaper under the dog's plate? And
No, that's definitely contamination.
Yeah,
I would
but
say.
oh my gosh, are they going to know that? Are the recycling people going to say,
I don't know.
wait a minute, there's a newspaper that has dog food on it?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I really don't. And there's so much more education to be done, but I thought this is a really
Wow.
good start. I mean, we've
All
got
right.
we've got the platform.
When's the magazine coming out? Monday?
It'll be out Monday.
All right.
So we're very excited about that, and there's a great deal of stories in there that will just
What else is in
make you
there
very happy.
this
So
month?
I don't know if you remember, Larry. It was a couple years ago, but there was a gentleman who got arrested because he went over to his girlfriend's house with the intention to maybe harm her. That's alleged. We don't know because it didn't happen because she wasn't home. But instead, he took it out on the dog and beat this dog almost to its death and left it for dead.
No.
All right. Well, the gentleman, he did this. And so he was arrested for it. And this was local. It was here in Marion County.
Right.
And of course, all of the animal lovers were just really up in arms about
Right,
this
right.
because, how dare this guy, what a jerk, right? So it became news, very local news, and ultimately ended up becoming kind of national news. And the dog has since been adopted. The dog's name is Molly. And it's been adopted by a phenomenal woman named Lily Barron, who is already a pet advocate. And she took the dog in, and the dog, of course, is doing wonderful and great. But it has inspired a law called Molly's Law, which now places people and jerks like this gentleman. In my opinion, but I'm sure most people would agree.
How's the girlfriend doing?
Well, she's hopefully not the girlfriend anymore.
She left him, okay.
Of course, you never know. But so it's inspired a law to where people who are abusing pets go on a registry, much like people who abuse people. There's a registry.
Okay, in Florida or the country?
And so, yes, our local city officials have
Oh, a
been
city,
advocating
okay.
and really in support of this, and it's trying to make its climb all the way up to Washington, D.C., because we would like to make this a national registry. We would hope, and there are a few other cities, intermittently across the nation that are already doing this, and there's several people who are just giving a lot of energy and time to this, and I think it's a great idea.
So you have that article in the...
Yeah, so you'll get to meet Lily, you'll get to meet Molly and find out about that law, and of course we have the gentleman's, mugshot there in case anyone's interested, in who that
The
gentleman is, and so, yeah. So I think it's great. I think it's a great story, and,
Similar story yesterday or 2 days ago that there's a law, or it was proposed to... in divorce court, that the consideration is given to the pets similarly as the way it's given to children, rather than considering pets property. Right now in the state of Florida, a dog is no different than a couch. But they want to change it so the dog is more like the baby. So
like visitation and such? So you could get dog support?
Well, I think it's...
Don't tell me that, because I'll go and amend.
It doesn't say that. What it says is basically goes to the party who's most likely to take good care of it. So I think that's how it was worded, something like that.
The difficulty will be in deciding who better takes care of it.
Right.
I mean, is it who's the best cuddler, or who's just more apt to feed it on time? Because, both are important.
Do you ever see the videos when the dog is like guilty of chewing the furniture?
Yeah.
And everybody in America says these words. Did you do that?
I know. I know. I do it myself.
Did you do that?
I do it to my dog. I'll come home and no one else has been there. And there's something, and I'm just like, did you do this? I'm just waiting for him, I guess, to say, yep, I did it.
If you're listening right now, please bring your dog to the radio. I have something to say to the dog. Did you do that?
Right.
Did you do that? Can you imagine?
Well, I'd love to have Molly come in with Lily at some point this month, so you can meet her and, of course, meet Molly.
What kind of dog is Molly?
Molly, she's a mix. I think she's a Shepherd Lab mix.
Okay.
Not exactly. I can't recall, but just a phenomenal dog. We had her in the studio to take photos, and we weren't really sure how she would respond to humans, considering the trauma that she's been through. She's so amazing.
Only if you look like this guy, this gentleman.
Yeah. You'll all see him in the magazine.
Does he look like me?
Just a peach. No, nothing like you.
So then the dog will be okay with me.
The dog will be perfect with you. So like us on Facebook. We have several contests that we have going on, and next week at some point we're going to start putting all of our nominees for our Celebration of Nursing Awards on there. So you'll get to see all of the awesome. We have over 200 nurses that will be able to introduce to everybody who deserve all types of recognition. So make sure you like us on Ocala Magazine's Facebook.
Do you have any strawberries in your future?
I would like to have some in my future, and I think that I have Lily this weekend, so I think I'm going to try to make a visit to the festival.
Thank you,
yes.
Kelly. Always fun.
Thank you, Larry.
I can't believe the recycling story. Wow, that's amazing.
Well, believe it.
Thank you.
Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good?
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. President Trump taking aim at Democrats in a tweet this morning saying it's so pathetic they still haven't approved his full cabinet. The president also defending his attorney general, who's recused himself from any probe into Russian U.S. election interference.
In a series of tweets last night said, quote, Jeff Sessions is an honest man. He did not say anything wrong. He could have stated his response more accurately, but it was clearly not intentional. This whole narrative is a way of saving face for Democrats losing